Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to LaSalle County Board meeting for July 10th, 2025 at 13:02 p.m. This is the second meeting of the June 2024-2025 session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call for per diem and mileage, please.
Ms. McNally? Mr. Small?
Aye, aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed? Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Oh. Sorry. Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
Mr. Gatza?
Aye.
Mr. Ashapinski?
Aye. Wow. Aye.
Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Brown is absent. Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. McEmery?
Aye.
Ms. Zanecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Urick?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
And I have Bush is absent.
We have a motion to approve remote attendance pursuant to Resolution 23-53. Mr. Stockley, seconded by Mr. Templeton for Mr. Reed. Due to Mr. Reed.
I'm on my way to urgent care. I tweaked my knee this morning.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to approve roll call for per diem and mileage by Ms. Owens, second by Mr. Bailey. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to approve prior meeting minutes. Ms. Brayboy, seconded by Mr. Small. Any questions, comments, or concerns in regard to that? Hearing none, all in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to approve American Rescue Plan bills. Mr. Gatza, second by Mr. Torres. Any questions on those? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
Mr. Reed, you'll have to abstain on that because you didn't see the bills.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Gatza?
Aye.
Mr. Ashapinski?
Aye.
Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage? Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. McEmery?
Aye.
Ms. Zanecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Urick?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
And Ms. McNally?
Aye.
All ayes, one abstention, motion carried. Next, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for former board member and friend Mike Sheridan, please. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation from Birth to 5 for Region 35 with Ms. Eager and her accompanying ladies. Mhm. Thank you.
Right, and everybody needs to speak into. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to pop in today. We will just take a brief moment of your time. We come to give you a little bit of an update. I know some of you, I recognize your faces from a presentation we'd done when Birth to 5 Illinois was brand new back in 2023. 2023. So, so I'm Becky Eager. I'm the Regional Council Manager for Birth to 5 Illinois Region 35. We have an office right over by Farm & Fleet at the University of Illinois Extension Office. We have a neighboring office to them. So we are located local here.
And I am Zoe Miller. I am the administrative assistant, and I help do all the back office things.
And my name's Charlotte McWade, and I am the Family and Community Engagement Specialist, so I bridge that gap between our local families and the community.
So a lot of our work is based on what we learn from experiences from the families that we speak to and the folks that serve on Charlotte's Family Council. So we take those needs that are expressed and try and work through some resolutions using the team that I work with, which is the Action Council. So we try and bridge those gaps, between what family needs and what we have available to help them out. So that's kind of the basis of what we do. So we wanted to get you up to date on kind of what we've been doing. We have been working to recruit and retain the early childhood workforce, meaning education and care. So we saw a huge lack. 88% of kiddos birth to 5 did not have access to education or care. So what we've been working to do is kind of help fill that void by encouraging folks to join that early childhood workforce. So what we do is we send out emails to kind of encourage folks to join that workforce. So we send out grants to local school districts, things to kind of help them encourage the younger kids to maybe enroll in some early childhood courses and things like that. In your folders, before I get too deep into conversation, in your folders, there's a bunch of paperwork in here, but the first one, I think, is what we've been working on pretty heavily the last couple of years. So it's that recruit and retain, and then also something that we found when we first started working with Birth to 5 Illinois is that families really had a hard time finding what was available for resources in the early childhood education and care field, but also in mental and behavioral health. So we created a document using resources that are local and combined them all into one booklet. Then we work to make that easily accessible to all. So we do have paper copies of that, but we also have a QR code that we have placed on magnets for folks to put on their fridge. So all they have to do is scan this QR code if they have a smartphone, and all the lists for LaSalle, Marshall, Putnam, also surrounding communities. We asked folks, like, if you live in this area, what are some places that you feel other families should know about? So we included them in this resource guide too. So that resource guide again includes early childhood education and care, but also mental behavioral health supports. So that's been something that we've been working on pretty heavily. Charlotte, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to touch base. The premise behind that QR code is this document is a living, breathing document, right? So as resources come and go, we want to be able to make those changes if telephone numbers are updated or the capacity of a child care center increases. We want to be able to put that in there, hence the QR code. That was the problem with a hard copy, right? So then we're having to disseminate these booklets that may not be current, which was another large problem that we're hearing from families is, hey, we hit Google and then we find this and the number is no longer in service or what have you. So this QR code allows that to live and breathe and to expand. So currently, it's just that early childhood education and care, mental behavioral health. We also know that there's a large need for early intervention for our special needs community, and also recreation. We talked about mental health also as physical health. How can we get that expanded? And ideally, this will grow and those lists will be on there as well. And now they don't have to have another copy, another booklet that's collecting dust. They just use that QR code. So as that grows with our community, it's already current for the families that have access to that.
So that's it. Any questions about that?
Okay.
So something that we're working on pretty heavily right now is recruiting for the Family Council, which Charlotte leads, and also the Action Council, which is what I lead. So from May 5th to September 5th, that's also, those information papers are in your folders also to kind of give you a little background information on what that looks like. If any of you are interested, we would be honored to have you part of one of our teams. Again, those two councils work together to help resolve and bridge gaps within the local community that families share with us. So that's one way to help advocate for our community and advocate for those families that you hear from quite often. I think that's all I had about the councils. Charlotte, did you have anything you want to add about councils at all?
I just think that it's important to note, specifically to the Action Council. So the three of us work very closely together. There's a good chance if you email Becky that Zoe is actually behind the scenes handling all the things. But for the Action Council, it's not just a background in early childhood, right? We're talking economic development. We're talking about workforce. Birth to Five Illinois provided a large grant to our local regional office of education about this time last year, if I'm remembering correctly. And that survey came out that 700 of our local families would be willing to go to work if they had access to affordable childcare in the area, right? So when you sit on the Action Council, these topics like workforce, economic development, meaning, is there somebody who wants to start childcare center and we have a building that's been sitting empty for years? Is that going to be something that we can utilize? So topics like that, it expands just early childhood. So when we talk recruitment for the Action Council, please keep that in mind, or if you folks wouldn't want to be a part of it, anyone you know. And then as far as the Family Council, the only requirement is that you have to be a parent or grandparent caregiver of a child from birth to 8. So we know that there's a large percentage of grandparents taking care of grandchildren in our area. So I definitely like to reiterate that it just doesn't have to be a birth parent that sits on the council. If you are taking care of your grandchildren or your niece, your nephew, what have you, you're definitely a quality asset to the council as well.
Any questions about councils? No? Okay. So we will kind of give you a broad scope about what Birth to Five Illinois is, now that we've told you locally what it looks like and why it's important to our community. But on a bigger scope, there are 39 offices just like ours across the state. They are aligned with the Regional Office of Education. So the territory or the region that's covered by the Regional Office of Education, there will be also a Birth to Five Illinois office that aligns with that same territory region. So our plan and what we are super proud of is that we are honing in on what does the local community need. That is something that I know all three of us found very intriguing about this job, is that we are going to be part of local solutions according to local need, rather than blanket statements that may not help out our local community and families. So on the bigger scale, Birth to Five Illinois has 39 offices just like ours that are also doing the same thing community-wide, figuring out what it is that they need and then trying to come up with some solutions for them. But we also do a broader scale. For example, transportation is something that across the state is really needed. So that is handled on our leadership team level. But those are also elevated to be discussed and, possible solutions in the future. So
We also, certain counties, I think all the time about like the Somnock, Leland area, Lake Holiday, and how those kind of intertwine. So we do have really great relationships with our surrounding regions as well. We have done events together, spoke with families together, to make sure that that understanding is there, that our communities do bleed into one another. And if somebody, has utilized Birds of 5 Illinois Region 35 and is moving out, that we can get them in contact with their local regional office as well. And then it also is important because families in our area are using outside resources, right? We're having to go to Peoria or even just the DeKalb area for certain specialties. So having those relationships with other regions allows us to provide for our local families too.
Zoe, do you want to share with them how they can get in contact with us?
Yes, so you can get in contact with us on Facebook. Our emails are also listed in your folder, all of our contact information there. And we also send out a newsletter every other month. So if you're interested in being a part of our newsletter, that information is also in your folder. But yeah, those are 3 ways you can get in contact with us.
Any questions?
I'll just say how happy I am that this agency exists. I believe that childcare is critical infrastructure, like bridges and roads and healthcare and education, and I feel like it's up to us to make childcare possible for our area.
Thank you, Emily.
Mr.
So where
Traeger?
do you get your funding?
We are currently funded through ISB right now,
The
Illinois State Board of Education.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Yep, we are housed under INCRA. So that's the Illinois Network of Child Care Resource and Referral, and that's based in Bloomington. But we are all satellite offices. So we work from home 3 days a week, but then we work in our Ottawa office 2 days a week. So that's how all about 39 offices are run.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you all so
Thank you
very
for
much.
Thanks for coming.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we have citizen comment. No, we'll do, Mr. Durden, would you like to come up? Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
I'm Ed Durden. My son and I run Durden Concrete Construction. And I'm here to talk about the safety situation as far as inspections go. I stood here, I think, and I'm not gonna tell you the right day, but 21 years ago, when they were putting this in, Joe Doherty was here, and I said I didn't have a. Pardon me? Okay, I'm losing my voice. Sorry about that. So 20 or 21 years ago, you don't quote me because I'm not sure, but Joe Doherty was here and you were putting in the buildings inspections. And I said, I don't have a problem with inspections, and I don't today either. I do have a problem with the timely inspections, okay? At the present time, they went to 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now, I guess my question would be, is all the other businesses in LaSalle County gonna be shut down Tuesdays and Thursdays? Because that's what we're doing to me. I'm not actually asking for special consideration on stuff, but if a framer frames a house, an inspector can come in and do it tomorrow or the next day. Plumber, electrician, with me, if I have a basement dug, I go in, form the footing, I'm ready by 10 o'clock. We work all over 3-4 counties. And so if I can't get a timely inspection, I sit and wait or I move. I was up in Mendota about 10 days ago. My other 2 jobs are in Wyandotte and Pontiac. So for me to move makes no sense. But that job, when I called in for an inspection, One, I called it in the day before, and she said there's no inspections on Thursday. So I did something else. And on Friday, I got an inspection. I requested 11 o'clock. I knew I would be ready by 10, but I requested 11 to make sure I was ready, because we have a new inspector that I haven't worked with a lot. And so I requested 11, and when I requested 11, the girl kind of laughed and said, well, you're the only inspection tomorrow, so that shouldn't be a problem. And he showed up at about 1:25 that particular day when I ordered concrete. I should have been done at 4 o'clock. My guys got done at 5:30. My last load of concrete was on overtime concrete, simply because I'm waiting. And if that's the only inspection you got that day, it's kind of beyond belief to me. You know, when Rick was here, like I say, I'm not asking for special consideration, but a footing, when you form a footing, you either pour it or you got to move on because you're ready and there's nothing else to do. I guess since then, I called Safe Built about it, and I asked, when I talked to one of the girls, I asked for who was ever in charge. And her response to me was, I need to plan my time better, you know, my schedule. So now I've got a situation where you're open 3 days a week. We wait for inspections all the time, and it's just, it doesn't work. And so it's taken 3 weeks to get a permit. In the past, it would take a week, maybe 10 days. My last job that I'm on, I poured footings on yesterday. It was held up a week because there wasn't a drawing of the light switches or receptacles in a garage. I'm doing a garage. Let me repeat that. Receptacles in a garage held up a week. Now, to me, that's beyond belief. Now my inspector tells me, and maybe I'll bore you with this stuff, but my inspector's telling me I cannot, for 51 years I've done this. For 36 years I've been in business. We hold the rebar when we pour the footing in. One guy holds the rebar. That's the way I've done it all my life. I've done over 4,000 basements. As of last week, I can't do it that way anymore. He says it has to be tied. It doesn't require on a footing to have vertical rebar. And so I said, what do I tie it to? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, it's not just going to stand there in the air. So we haven't got along real good. I'm doing what I'm trying to get along, but just like I've asked Brian, in the past, we've had a footing inspection, a backfill inspection, a rough frame inspection, and a final inspection. Now they're going to have floor inspections. So I don't have a problem with the floor inspection. I asked the inspector what he wants to see. He goes, I want to see the vapor barrier or visqueen down on the floor. Okay, but for me, every morning I get up at 5 o'clock, I look at the weather. My flat work crew will pour every day now till Christmas. And for me, I get up, and if I've got a 40% chance of rain, I'm going inside. That's the way it is. So I go there, I snap my lines, plumb my poles, check the plumbing, check the drain, put the plastic down, pour it. It's an hour to get ready. You order concrete. Now I have to wait for inspections. And so I can't pour. So now I have to send 3 guys out to get that floor ready. And like I say, we work all over. So it's not like I'm in Ottawa and I just run down the street. You know, and so it's become frustrating. And, you know, when I've discussed it with Brian about it, you know, he says, just put on $1,000 or $1,500 on your bid. You know, I've made my business being honest with people and treating people like I would want to be treated. Mr. Miller, I did 2 houses for your kids recently. And you don't have to answer this question. But how would you feel if I said, hey Tom, I threw $1,500 on my bid to cover waiting for inspections? Will that upset you? It wouldn't me if it was my kids. And so it's just, that's not the way I want to do business. And that's not the way I'm gonna do business. But in the last 3 weeks, it's cost me $5,700 out of my own pocket to cover guys just because I'm not getting inspections. And not to say the $5,700, that's what it cost me. I should be out making money and pouring concrete instead of waiting. But when you're all over, you know, if I was in Ottawa, I'd run down the street and pour something else. But like I say, I'm all over the place. So I don't know, you know, I can't schedule my jobs. My job revolves around people building their houses, people getting permits, people getting financing. Somebody says, I'm gonna have my financing in 2 weeks, they wanna have it for a month. And so my schedule changes by the day. So I can't say, okay, I'm gonna work the Pontiac area, I'm gonna work the Mendota area, I'm gonna work Lake Holiday. It never works. You go where you have the work, and that's the way it works. You know, I've talked to the other builders, the electricians, the plumbers. You know, the general contractor is telling me with all the new codes, there's 264 changes. I'm in the process of reading the book, but it takes a while. You know, and so I guess what I'm disappointed most is the general contractor is telling me $10,000 more to build a house in LaSalle County, just because of what's going on. I go to other counties, I can get a permit in Livingston County the same day, you know? And so Safe Built's telling you there's not enough work to warrant somebody down here every day, but we wait 3 weeks for a permit. My inspection yesterday, so I don't know if you're aware, when I call for an inspection, I call Oakbrook. My inspector comes from DeKalb. When he comes in and pulls into the yard, his door says pillar to post home inspection. That's who I'm getting now. Okay, so I asked him yesterday, what do you do on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I do my own home inspections. So I'm paying the price, what's convenient for Safe Built and what's convenient for the inspector. And I think that's failing the people of LaSalle County, the way that's being handled. You know, I just don't think it's right. And so, you know, if I came in here today and this meeting started at 1 o'clock, you told all you people you had to sit here till 4, or till somebody walked through that door and told you you could start, I bet you it'd be fixed by next month. But unless I complain, it's not gonna get fixed. All the other contractors, there's like a warpath out there. But nobody wants to say anything because everybody's afraid they're gonna get flunked. Or the inspector is gonna hold it against them. And I've worked in Kane County, and I've been in the basement, and I heard 2 inspectors laughing about how they flunk people. I've never flunked an inspection in my life. Deep down, I got a feeling it's coming, you know? And so, it's just, I don't really need, I mean, they're farm exempt. I can do those. I don't really need to deal with this on a daily basis. You can't sleep at night because you don't know which guys you're gonna send where, because you don't know when you're gonna get inspections and how it's gonna be handled. You know, and so, I guess I've said my piece of what, I just want you people to know how it is out there in the field.
I was wondering, tell me a little bit about inspections. Does he have to physically be there? Can you request a Zoom meeting or a camera where you walk around with a camera?
He told me, when I complained enough, they told me that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I could send them a picture. So now we got LaSalle County with this building inspection. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have to wait for them. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can send them a picture. Now they tell me that they're going to get a substitute. When I called the other day to get an inspection on a Thursday, Safe Built told me we don't do Thursday inspections. So, you know, the inspector's telling me one thing. The other thing is the inspector is telling me that he's told my carpenter, or one of my carpenters, that he doesn't like my escape window. Okay, I go to World of Concrete in Vegas. I go through, I find the best possible window I can buy. I'm buying Monarch windows. I've used them for 25 years, and I think they're the best window on the market for escape. Basement windows have never been fantastic, but I feel like it's the best one out there, so I'm using it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the way it comes out. It meets code. Monarch sells all over the United States. But as of about a week ago, I guess it's not any good here. Yesterday, I had an inspection, and am I taking too long?
Please wrap it up.
Okay. Yesterday, I had an
I want to say I appreciate Mr. Durden for coming in, because this is something we've been looking at currently, and we need to address this issue, because I don't think the people of LaSalle County are being served properly.
He came out, and he was going to measure my elevations and stuff, and he's measuring around on the dirt. And I said, the grade stakes, and I know I'm talking Greek to you, but the grade stakes are the elevation. And he's like, oh, he didn't even know what he was looking at. This is the building permit from the job I'm on today and yesterday. It has checked, I have a backfill inspection, which consists of damp proofing, drain tile, prior to backfill. It's a garage footing. It doesn't get backfill, it doesn't get drain tile. He checked it. When I asked him about it, he goes, oh, that's really for the floor. So I said, so when I see a backfill and drain tile inspection, does that mean floor? So then when we have a floor inspection, does that mean drain tile inspection, or what? I'm gonna be honest with you, it's disgusting. It's disgusting to be there, disgusting to watch it, and I'm embarrassed to be a part of it. So I guess that's all I got to say. Any questions, or we don't have questions, correct?
Thank you.
I guess I hope you take it serious as I do, because it's costing me a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Reed?
could I be allowed to do some research on this problem?
Well, it's currently being addressed in land use, but you're willing to participate.
Absolutely.
Next, we have citizen comment. Mr. Anderson would like to say a few words.
Good afternoon. As some of you may know, my last day with the state's attorney's office will be this coming Wednesday. Now, what are you clapping for?
Hold the applause,
Yeah.
please.
Only you. Yeah, there's a few things I want to get off my chest. No, teasing. I just really wanted to come in and thank you all. Started here 12 years ago. Got to be honest with you, I came in pretty wide-eyed. I was very lucky to have Mike Harstead and Mary Holland, and most of our initial conversations and questions were met with my response being, well, what would you do? Yeah, let's do that, because it was new. But 12 years later, I couldn't be happier to have spent the time here, see faces that were here day one that are still here, and I appreciate your efforts. Ran into a situation up in Earlville when I was city attorney up there. Ran into some people up there on the board who kind of were cantankerous. They got nothing on you, Doug. But, you know, I think one of them, they ran for mayor, and he was defeated. But I said thank you for trying. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for giving of your time to the citizens, and I thank you all. As I said, this has been a pleasure. I'm a better attorney, better person for having done this, and I'll miss you all, even you. Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to invite State's Attorney Joe Navarro up here, who will introduce our Mark Anderson replacement.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I didn't know I was going to have to do this today, so I'm not dressed in a suit. Like, Anyway, the gentleman to my right here is a good friend, Jeremiah Adams. He's been in the state's attorney's office for a few months short of 20 years. And he approached me and expressed interest in this job. I did talk to at least one other person, but when I had this guy in front of me, I said, this has got to be who is going to do the job. He has a few murder cases still pending, which you'll have to see through. But again, Mark was part-time, Pat's part-time, but he'll still be in the office. He'll still be available for answer questions. He'll get up to speed really quick because he's a hell of an attorney, and be available for any questions during committee meetings or whatever the case may be. And I'll let Jeremiah talk and introduce himself too.
I also didn't realize that I was going to come down here today, but I look forward to working with all of you. This is a huge change for me. A lot of the wide-eyed things that Mark was talking about, I'm going to be going through that, so I appreciate you letting me work through things. But I'm looking forward to this opportunity. I thank Joe for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to working with you all. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
They farm out by Seneca, so good hard-working sandwich, I'm sorry.
Welcome aboard.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Traeger.
Jeremiah, I'm not as cantankerous as they may have led you to believe. And congratulations to Mr. Anderson on his judgeship. Yep.
Okay, next we have consent agenda items, being probation and court services semi-annual report and detention home semi-annual report to place on file. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items? Mr. Small, second by Mr. Blue. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor of said motion to place those reports on file signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have a resolution granting a wage increase to the non-union employees of LaSalle County for fiscal year 25-26.
Whereas it is reasonable and appropriate to provide wage increases for all current non-union employees of the County of LaSalle for the fiscal year beginning December 1, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the County of LaSalle, acting by and through its county board as follows. Section 1, that all non-union county employees, with the express exception of county employees who have received a general wage increase for the fiscal year beginning December 1, 2025, and or those salaries are set by independent boards, or any county employees, those salaries have previously been set by separate motion, resolution, or directive, shall receive a 3.5% or $1 per hour, whichever is greater, increase in their wages. Section 2, this resolution be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval. Section 3, any resolution or part thereof in conflict with the provisions of this resolution is hereby repealed.
May I have a motion to approve said resolution? Mr. Templeton, second by Mr. McEmery. Any questions? Mr. Traeger.
Being that most of the union contracts been settled, and most of them been settled for 3.5–4%, from what I understand, I think our non-union employees deserve a bigger raise than this. And I would like to amend the resolution to 5%. That would only cost us, according to my figures and other people's, about $150,000. I think we can spare that. The office holders and the appointed officials constantly have to battle trying to get new help in here. I don't think we overpay our people at all, and they're dedicated employees. And I don't think it's that much money to provide them with another 1.5%. Like I say, it's about $150,000 a year. So I move to amend the motion to 5%.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Brunel? Any questions, comments? Mr. Gatsa?
The only comment I'd like to make is, and I'm not sure this is the place to start, but we've got to make sure we're looking at every decision we make in the most conservative way that we can look at it, because I'm telling you, everything seems to come back to those property taxes, which everybody says we need to get in control. And I realize in ways we don't have a lot of control, but in our votes on things that we do here, there is some part of that 11% that we do have control. And not the biggest part about the property taxes, but it is a part of that. So, you know, I just want to keep that in the forefront of all of our minds as we make our decisions. That is something that I know I've heard plenty about. I'm sure others have heard that as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please, on, Mr. Emmett?
Doug, what's the national average gonna be? What's the national average gonna be for wage increase? This is for December 1st of 2025, correct?
Yes.
It
Correct.
goes into effect. I'm thinking we should table it just so we can get through most of our budget. Huh? Okay. Okay.
Valid comment. Anything else? Oh, Mr. Torres?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but these employees do not have longevity.
No.
Thank you.
But that was the purpose of the dollar per hour, that basically is. Mhm. Yeah, the dollar per hour, basically the new contracts, 75 cents an hour, and then another 25, well, it's roughly 23 cents an hour is for their longevity. And that's the reason, the 3.5%, there's a point there that the dollar is more than the 3.5%. I don't remember what the dollar figure is right offhand. It might be 56,000. Mr. Gatsa?
Just to respond back to Craig, right now, in the public sector, or the private sector, it is 3.5% is where the national average is for increases. That's what everybody that I know is using. That's what's published.
I was just wondering where it was running in
Yeah.
at, so.
Any other questions or comments? Here.
All right,
Mr.
one more
Emmett?
time. How many non-union employees is this gonna affect?
I don't remember the number right off.
About 160,
100, yeah.
150, 160.
Yeah, something like that. Mhm. Any other questions?
Mr. Emmett, you can still table this motion after we vote on the amendment if you want to.
I trust you said $150,000, but I just wanted to double check and verify that.
Understand?
This will be a vote on the amendment, change from 3.5% to 5%. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Pottinger?
Nay.
Is that a nay? Okay. Mr. Reed?
Nay.
Ms. Owens?
Nay.
Ms. Bright?
Nay.
Mr. Emmett?
Nay.
Mr. Stockley?
Nay.
Mr. Gatsa?
Nay.
Mr. Ashapinski?
No.
Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Nay.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey,
Nay.
Mr. McEmery,
Nay.
Ms. Zanecki,
Aye.
Mr. Blue,
Nay.
Ms. Urick,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Nay.
Mr. Slager,
Nay.
Ms. McNally,
Aye.
Mr. Small,
Nay.
Eleven ayes, 16 nays, motion denied. Any questions or comments on the original motion? Hearing none, roll call, please. Mr.
I was
Emmett?
wondering if we could table till next meeting, until we can get into more than to talk to the elected officials and the department heads to kind of get a good idea of what we're up against, and actually see if we got the extra money to afford to do it. I think about it, by this time next month, we should be able to have a pretty good answer on where we're gonna come in at.
Is that a motion to table?
Yes, sir.
Second?
I second.
Second, Mr. Dose?
I mean, we might get through this, budget, we might find we got the extra money for it with no problem.
Mr. Gatsa?
A little confusion. Didn't we just vote as a team against it prior to the tabling that we wouldn't be for a change? So doesn't that stop it right there, or,
I'll just table it till the next meeting.
and if
There's
there's new information, then revote again, you're saying, and
Well, it'll be brought back up. If you don't
mean,
want
right-
to, if
right-
you don't want to table it, then vote no on it.
Right now, we started the budgets early, especially with all the stuff going on with the government on cutting back and everything else. We're trying to figure out if we're gonna have enough revenue coming in from the sources that we have. So to me, we've started it early. We started with 3.5% for salary, but we could go up in a month if we go through and kind of look at everything. You know what I'm saying? I want to do a true meeting of it. And I mean, by using the 3.5 right now for the budget, at least we got a baseline to go on.
There's a motion to table and a second. It requires a vote.
Roll call vote, please. This is on the motion to table.
Mr. Reed,
No. Nay.
Ms. Owens,
Aye.
Ms. Bright,
Nay.
Mr. Emmett,
Aye.
Mr. Stockley,
Aye.
Mr. Gatsa,
nay.
Mr. Ashapinsky,
Nay.
Mr. Templeton,
Nay.
Ms. Bernal,
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy,
Aye.
Mr. Savage, Mr. Torres,
Aye.
Mr. Traeger,
Aye.
Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Bailey,
Nay.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
Mr. Doze,
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey,
Nay.
Mr. McEmery, excuse me,
Nay.
nay, sorry. Ms. Zanecki,
Aye.
Mr. Blue,
Nay.
Ms. Urick,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Nay.
Mr. Slager,
Nay.
Ms. Bush is not here, Ms. McNally,
Aye.
Mr. Small,
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger,
Nay.
Ayes 15, nays 12, motion carried. Be tabled till the next full board meeting. Let's see. Next, we have a resolution for amending the salaries for LaSalle County State's Attorney, Sheriff, and Public Defender.
Whereas 55 ILCS 5/4-2001 provides the state's attorney shall receive a salary as set by the Compensation Review Board of the State of Illinois, see Attachment A from the Illinois Department of Revenue. Whereas the Illinois Compensation Review Board has set the salary of the LaSalle County State's Attorney at $219,325.62, effective July 1, 2025, due to a COLA, cost of living adjustment. And whereas LaSalle County has a population exceeding 30,000, and LaSalle County Public Defender is a full-time position, and the appointed public defender is not allowed to engage in the private practice of law, 55 ILCS 5/3-4007 C provides that his or her salary shall be 90% of the salary paid to the state's attorneys of the same county. And whereas 55 ILCS 5/3-600.5 sets the salary of the sheriff at 80% of the salary of the state's attorney of the same county. Whereas although these increases in salary for these offices are required by law, a budgetary amendment is necessary to comply with the imposed salary increases. Now therefore be it resolved by the LaSalle County Board in regular meeting assemblies. 1. The above recitals are adopted and incorporated as part of the resolution. 2. The salary of the LaSalle County State's Attorney is hereby set at $219,325.62, effective July 1, 2025, until further changed by law. And 3. The salary of the LaSalle County Public Defender is hereby set at $197,393.06, effective July 1, 2025, until further changed by law. And 4, the salary of the LaSalle County Sheriff is hereby set at $175,460.49, effective July 1, 2025, until further changed by law. And LaSalle County Board, having approved this resolution by vote, a majority of the 2/3 voting upon the question, LaSalle County budget for fiscal year 12/1/2024 to 11/30/2025 is hereby amended to reflect the changes in salary and state reimbursement accordingly. And 6, certified copy of this resolution shall be provided as needed to the Illinois Department of Revenue with P-Tax-450 form to allow LaSalle County to be properly reimbursed by the state of Illinois as required by law.
We have a motion to approve said resolution. Oh, yeah. Mr. Miller, second. Mr. Bailey, any questions? Mr. Traeger?
Since our state's attorney immediately left before we could answer any questions about this, I'm just kidding. You don't want to make the state's attorney angry. Anyway, I believe this is about a 6.5 or 7% raise for them, so just to put things in perspective.
Yeah, lobbied for by their association. Yeah, 6.1%.
Chairman,
Mr. Gatsa?
and just to reiterate something that was stated to us earlier, that due to the Safety Act, I believe a lot of extra work came into that office. I believe that was part of the whole negotiation of why there was that type of increase. Is what I heard earlier, so just want to clarify that too. And
Yeah,
I don't believe,
lobbied for by their association.
correct.
Correct.
And I don't believe we have a choice anyway in this,
No, that's right.
so.
Yep. Any other questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
Mr. Gatsa?
Aye.
Mr. Ashapinsky?
Aye.
Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. McEmery?
Aye.
Ms. Zynecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Urick?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
Ms. McNally?
Aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Is that an aye?
Yes, aye.
Okay. Ms. Owens?
Aye.
All ayes.
All ayes, motion carried. Next, we have a resolution for the addendum to contract for digital map conversion and implementation of countywide GIS.
Whereas the LaSalle County Taxes Election and GIS Committee recommend an amendment to the existing proprietary GIS contract with Bruce Harris and Associates for digital map conversion and implementation of the countywide GIS be made. And whereas the amendment includes 4 license agreements and shall be for a 4-year period at a cost to the county of $853,224. Year 1, $188,376, and years 2, 3, and 4, $221,616 per each year, as set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein. Now therefore be it resolved by the County of LaSalle, acting by and through its county board as follows. Section 1, that the foregoing recitals are incorporated herein by reference as if set forth verbatim. Section 2, that the addendum to the existing proprietary GIS contract with Bruce Harris and Associates for digital map conversion and implementation of a countywide GIS amendum is hereby approved, and the chairman of the board is hereby authorized to execute the same. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Section 4, any resolution or part thereof in conflict herewith is hereby repealed to the extent of any such conflict.
We have a motion to approve said resolution. Mr. Traeger, seconded by Mr. Stockley. You have a few words, sir?
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Colin Russell from Bruce Harris and Associates. I think most of you have probably seen me before, so I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and talk a little bit about the contract we've asked you to approve, give a little background, and answer any questions. So a little bit about our company. We were founded back in 1995, so we've been around for 30 years. We are an Illinois corporation. We are a GIS company. That means we specialize in GIS, Geographic Information Systems. This is our primary business. About 25 employees. We are family owned. There is an actual Bruce Harris. We've been around long enough. You might have met him. I think Joe might be the only one that's been around that long. But and our company headquarters is about 50 miles from here in Batavia. So a little bit of the history. We started all the way back in 2000, so we've been working with the county for 25 years. This was actually the first county I ever visited when I started with Bruce Harris and Associates all the way back in 2002. So I've been working with the county for a really long time. We did the original parcel mapping. We've assisted with multiple aerial acquisitions. We've done multiple conversions for the county. We've trained a couple GIS coordinators here, and after the last one left, we took over the responsibilities of that GIS coordinator, and that's what we do today. Kind of our core function is we assist with providing aerial photography. So we don't fly it ourselves, but we coordinate it. We help maintain the parcel information, farmland assessment. We did the county board redistricting, so the seats that you are sitting in, they're your districts. We created those with the county. We support emergency management, zoning, nuclear exercise support, damage assessment, and GIS website creation. So a few departments that use GIS, you got the supervisor of assessments, land use, EMA, the county clerk, highway, health, 911, sheriff's office. So all these departments use the GIS that we create and help support. A few accomplishments. We assisted with the damage assessment with the Ottawa tornado. It's been a number of years now, but I was actually here assisting with damage assessment after the fact. When the ransomware hit a number of years ago, we actually had to rebuild the county GIS. We didn't lose any data, but we had to rebuild all of that infrastructure that existed. And then we've increased with, public transparency over the years so that the citizens can better view the GIS information. So the county's GIS role is we provide the GIS infrastructure, we support GIS users and their initiatives, we maintain multiple layers, do farmland assessments, and map production. So what does Bruce Harrison Associates do? We build and maintain the county's ArcGIS enterprise, so that infrastructure that all the GIS users use, we build that, maintain it, support it, and make sure it stays online. We manage the county's ArcGIS online organization. There's a cloud component to that, so we manage that as well. Somebody needs an ArcGIS online organization account, we support that. The township assessors, we help support them. If they need an ArcGIS online organization, we support that as well. I worked with one of them yesterday to make sure that they had the access that they need. We monitor the data automation processes that support all the different applications. We proactively support and maintain the GIS here. So we're looking out for what the county needs as far as GIS with a lot of technological changes that are occurring. We make sure that the county is up to speed and supported with those. We support the desktop and pro users, so the people that are using the hands-on software, we support them. We manage the county's EagleView account, the aerial photography that has the oblique imagery that gets flown every once in a while. We manage that and maintain that. So if somebody needs a user account, they come to us, we support that. We do staff augmentation. So if somebody leaves, that's GIS, we'll come in and support them temporarily so that the county doesn't lose has minimal downtime. So that happens from time to time. We're actually gonna have a situation coming up here pretty soon. We'll have people retire and we'll help support them and make sure that transition is as smooth as possible. We do map production, so we get requests from the county clerk's office as an example to produce maps. We'll produce those and provide those back to the county. And then we do spatial and data analysis. So the redistricting I talked about, that's a good example of doing spatial analysis. Taking all those census blocks and precincts and combining those into the districts that you sit in is a big undertaking, a big spatial analysis process. We do that for the county. So what are the few advantages of using us for this? We have a large GIS team with a large skill set. It's not just me, you guys see me, but we have a lot of people behind the scenes. We have former county GIS administrators and coordinators on our staff. We have an IAAO CMS, which stands for Cadastral Mapping Specialist. So the parcel mapping that's occurring in the office, in the supervisor assessment's office, if they need support, they're getting that from somebody who's certified in that area. That's a very challenging designation to get. If you're interested, you can look that up. It's IAAO CMS. So we have somebody on staff that can support that. We have a former county map department supervisor, administrator on staff, and we actually have a certified Illinois assessing officer on staff as well. So consistency and stability. So I mentioned there was a couple people that left. We've been brought in ever since, and we provide a lot of stability to make sure that the operations continue. There's people who are going to retire here pretty soon, and we'll be here to make sure that transition is as smooth as possible to make sure that the county continues to provide the services it needs. We have a lot of experience and expertise. And then what's next? We'll continue to support the technological transitions that are occurring. Those are being forced by Esri. They're natural things that happen, but there'll be big transitions from the GIS world. We'll be here to support those and make those go smoothly. County staff transition, I already mentioned that. And then we'll continue expanding and improve GIS throughout the county. And then the last thing I just want to say, one of the things that we've done with this contract is we reduced our costs for a year. We know that the county, with some of the downturn in the recordings, wasn't bringing the revenue. You guys were gracious enough to increase the recording fee, but we actually dropped our fees 15% for a year to help out. In a time when people are raising their fees, we actually reduced them and kept them steady going forward. So we just want to show monetarily how much we value this relationship with the county. And with that, I'll turn it over to any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call. Who? Oh, Mr. Mr. Gatsa?
Chairman, just for you, I'm not real familiar with all this. Does this go out for bid? Do we compare? Or how does this work?
No, this is, what do they call it? Proprietary? Yeah.
Okay. And it's gonna go from 15,698 to 18,468 monthly?
So it will reduce the current. So it will, the next, once the fiscal year starts, the monthly will drop from 15,000 to about 16,000.
It's, what's it? I'm reading it, it says the contract shall be paid monthly amounts of 15,698.
Right, so the current, the current on the existing contract is the same as what it would be for 27 through 29. So the bills for next year will drop 15%. And they go back to what the level that they were before.
And then it goes back to 18,468, it goes up to $3,000?
Yep, so it drops for a year to help out as that fund balance will regenerate, as those recordings went up and this go down, will help regenerate that fund balance.
And it's a 4-year agreement?
Correct.
Any other
Don,
questions?
Did you have any thoughts on this at all?
No, not right offhand. No. Yeah, Mr. Stockley?
Do we currently have 4 licenses, and what is that, what determines that?
So the licenses, we provide licenses to the users and account for the proprietary software you have. There's gonna be a variety of different licenses that we provide. For the Mapison licenses that are used, there's 4 of those that are here. And then there's a farmland tool that's a site license that we provide. And then there's also the website license as well, which is a site license as well.
But this agreement is for license?
Well, it's a 4-year agreement for the services that we provide to support those licenses.
Any other questions? Excuse me. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
Mr. Gatsa?
Aye.
Mr. Ashapinsky? Oh. Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. Montgomery?
Aye.
Ms. Zanecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Urick?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
Ms. McNally?
Aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carried.
Thank you very much. Very
Thank
much
you.
appreciate it.
Next, we have an ordinance authorizing disposal of personal property owned by LaSalle County.
Whereas in the opinion of the County Board of LaSalle County, Illinois, it is no longer necessary, useful, or in the best interest of the County of LaSalle to retain ownership of the personal property described in this ordinance. And whereas it has been determined by the LaSalle County Property Committee to dispose of said personal property in the manner most appropriate to the county. Now therefore be it ordained by the LaSalle County Board as follows. Section 1, recitals. The foregoing recitals are hereby incorporated into this ordinance as findings of LaSalle County Property Committee and LaSalle County Board. Section 2, disposal of surplus property. LaSalle County Property Committee and LaSalle County Board find that the personal property described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance and by this reference incorporated into this ordinance is no longer necessary or useful to the county, and thus the LaSalle County Board Chairman is hereby authorized to direct the sale or disposal of the surplus property in the manner most appropriate to the county. The surplus property shall be sold or disposed of in as-is condition. Section 3, effective date. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication in pamphlet form in the manner provided by law.
We have a motion to approve said ordinance. Mr. Torres, second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions? Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, just so the board's aware, any surplus property has to be sold at auction, public auction.
Thank you. No other questions? All in favor of said ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have an ordinance for out-of-state travel expense over $1,000 for a recorder.
Before an expense for travel, meals, or lodging may be approved under LaSalle County Ordinance Number 23-79, the following minimum documentation must first be submitted in writing to the County Board of LaSalle County. The name of the individual who received or is requesting the travel, meal, or lodging expense and the individual's job title or office. Karen Miller, the recorder. The date or dates and nature of the official business in which the travel, meal, or lodging expense was or will be expended. Please attach supporting documentation describing the nature of the official business, event, or program. It's a PRIA conference. It's August 26 to 28. That's 2025. It's in Tacoma, Washington, and it's a conference. An estimate of the cost of travel, meals, or lodging if expenses have not been incurred, or a receipt of the cost of the travel, meals, or lodging if expenses have already been incurred. Please attach either a document explaining the basis of your expense if expenses have not yet been incurred, or receipts if the expenses have already been incurred.
You have a motion to approve said ordinance. Mr. Small, second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Gatsa.
Aye.
Mr. Ashapinsky? He's not here. Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. McEmery?
Aye.
Ms. Zanecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Yurik?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
Ms. McNally?
Aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carried. Next, we have LaSalle County Animal Control Agreement for Animal Boarding Services. Everybody have a copy of the agreement for them? May I have a motion to waive the reading? Mr. Stockley, second by Ms. Bright. Any questions on the agreement? Ms. Burnell.
Yeah, I just wondered when this agreement will commence and when it will end.
Oh, well, that's a good question. I guess we didn't figure on an end date unless, of course, we work something else out.
But
Wasn't it the middle of August before we could commence with this?
Pardon?
Didn't this program start in the middle of August? They had no room before the middle of August?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to start before then, but as it turns out, they're short on space at this point in time.
yeah, the commence date is blank in there, and the termination date would be 30 days notice.
Yeah,
If you want to start it today, you can start it
yeah,
today.
section 8 on the third page.
I was thinking section 2 in term.
I just think it should be in there before we vote.
Well, it doesn't have to, because on either party, it could be 30 days notice.
But you want to do a start
When,
date?
a start
Need
date.
a start date on
It's
on
blank
term
on
two.
the
Well, I'd
agreement.
say start today.
Starts today?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as there's a
As
date in
soon
there, I'm
as
fine
soon
with
as it's
that.
passed, that way if there's space open, the
Mhm.
animal control
Okay.
can take advantage of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
That date should be written in the copy you signed, Mr. Chairman, under term 2.
Let's see. Yeah, same date up top as what it'll be in the term down below. Correct, Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, need a motion to approve the agreement for animal boarding services to commence on 10th day of June, 2025. Pardon? Oh, it is. Sorry about that. Moving backward in time. 10th day of July. Sorry. As well as down below in, this agreement shall commence on July 10th, 2025. Mr. Gatsa, second. Mr. Roach, any questions? Mr. Traeger?
Where were we taking animals before? Was there had to be a different place, wasn't there?
It's down across from Ace Hardware, what's that, the
Yeah.
Ottawa
Ottawa
Veterinary
Vet Clinic.
Clinic?
That was
They're
part of
closing.
it. Part of it probably Ivar and different other places that cooperated.
What, does Ivar do any of this stuff?
I'd have to talk with animal control and see if they do take any over there.
And the reason I'm asking, if you remember, we gave them like $100,000 out of the ARP money.
Yeah, for new kennels and that.
Yeah. So I'm wondering why, you know, Mr. Dose?
Mr. Dose?
They store a lot of our animals, and they work with us, and they open up overnight. If you've been there, there are cages. They're on the west side of you come in, they're on the, east side of the property. And we have a key that we can put overnight dogs, cats into these special kennels to isolate them from everyone else. So we've been paying them to store our animals for many, many years.
So then why do we need this agreement?
Mr. Gatsa?
Actually, Chris from Ivar was in a meeting. I did not hear everything Mr. Dose said, but she said they're full. I mean, she said she's got hundreds of cats and dogs and really has no avenue for us. She said an acre of land is over there if somebody wanted to build something or do something, but really full at this point. And that's what led us to other avenues and working with the city of Ottawa as well, because they are in the same issue that we are, with no place to go.
Okay. No, I just wonder, so this would be like an overflow because Ivar can't take them all, pretty much?
Yeah, well, this could be considered a temporary fix for the
Okay.
situation we have with animal control right now.
Okay. Doesn't Mr. Emmett have some property out there that we?
Any open kennels? Okay, any other questions? Mr. Dose?
Are we working with the city of Ottawa?
We have to, I have to contact them, talk to them, see what they're doing. I think there's supposed to be a meeting next week sometime.
The 14th, are you gonna go?
Pardon?
The 14th.
The 14th, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw dates of 14th or 16th, but I hadn't heard anything more on it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Bernal?
Aye.
Ms. Brayboy?
Aye.
Mr. Savage?
Aye.
Mr. Torres?
Aye.
Mr. Traeger?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Walsh?
Aye.
Mr. Doze?
Aye.
Mr. Aubrey?
Aye.
Mr. Montgomery?
Aye.
Ms. Zanecki?
Aye.
Mr. Blue?
Aye.
Ms. Urick?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mr. Slager?
Aye.
Ms. McNally?
Aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Ms. Pottinger?
Aye.
Mr. Reed? Okay. Ms. Owens?
Aye.
Ms. Bright?
Aye.
Mr. Emmett?
Aye.
Mr. Stockley?
Aye.
Mr. Gatsa?
Aye.
Mr. Templeton?
Aye.
All present, ayes, motion carried. Next, we have an intergovernmental agreement between the County of LaSalle and Serena Community Unit School District 2 to provide a school resource officer to District 2. A motion to, you have the intergovernmental agreement before you. Any questions on that? We have a motion to waive the reading. Mr. Gatsa, second by Mr. Stockley. Any questions on that? Just a short synopsis. Sheriff Biss was contacted by the unit district, and they're interested in having one of our school resource officers concentrate their efforts up in that unit district. And they were going to chip in on the cost of that. Any questions? Mr. Torres?
Every year moving forward on the cost of the employee?
I'm assuming so. We'll have to address that next year sometime, because that's when the ARP funding runs out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to contact the different schools, talk to them about the program, and go from there. After 26, after the ARP funds run out.
Mr. Torres, this is a one-year agreement that can be re-upped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Brunel?
Yeah. So Pat, we're waiting that year just because of the ARPA money, right? They'll pay for it this year, the 25, 26?
Yeah, it'd be the next school year.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It starts this in the fall then,
Mhm.
Yes, next month.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Pardon? Oh, okay, correct. Yeah, we didn't. Huh? Yeah. Need a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the County of LaSalle and Serena Community Unit School District 2 to provide a school resource officer to District 2. Mr. Templeton, second by Mr. Emmett. Now, any questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor of said intergovernmental agreement signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We have miscellaneous. Next, we have miscellaneous correspondence and reports.
The Treasurer's Investments Report dated June 4th, 2025 was submitted. The Treasurer's Investments Report dated July 7th, 2025 was submitted. Correspondence from Illinois Environmental Protection Agency regarding notice of application for permit to manage waste at the landfill for solid waste project dated June 26, 2025 was submitted. Correspondence from the Department of Revenue regarding tax allocation verification dated June 17, 2025 was submitted. A copy of the 2025 Annual Compliance Review for the LaSalle County Jail and Detention Standards Unit from the Illinois Department of Corrections was submitted.
We have a motion to approve miscellaneous correspondence and reports. Mr. Emmett, second by Mr. Stockley. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Just one more thing. Keep in mind the tabled issue that was here earlier. I'd like to make a comment that I should have made before. Dear friend of mine who ran a successful business always told me you keep track of the pennies, the dollars will keep track of themselves. And I'm wondering in that situation, if the taxpayers of LaSalle County were polled, what they would approve, a 3.5% raise or a 5% raise. We have a motion to recess meeting to August 14th, 2025 by Mr. Gatsa, second by Mr. Roach. All in favor of said motion to recess signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion